Hello, this is Dr. Kuhn, and we're going to talk about a project that I have assigned to my students. Now, you're welcome to start this project and do it yourself. You can probably find something like this somewhere out there. I've shared this with colleagues over the years, and maybe some of them have assigned it to you as an assignment. But I think it's a fun little activity you could do by yourself. And to my students who are watching this, this, of course, is required. Right? So anyway, what do you do? Well, the initial assignment is to design a house with no right angles. So first thing, draw a house with no right angles. This is more or less the floor plan of what you'd be looking at. So a giant walks up, tears the roof off the house, and looks down at the house. This is what they see. And you'd have individual rooms. Maybe you have the living room and a bedroom and a kitchen and all down the line. You want to format those spaces so that they flow fairly well. So maybe this is the living room and there's a half wall right there, and here's the kitchen. I have no idea what this little triangular jut out section would be. Maybe this is the laundry mud area room. Over here is the master bedroom, including closet and master bathroom, whatever you want. So maybe you can put in a couple little dotted lines, maybe something like this, and maybe something like that, all right? So in there you'd have the closet and the bathroom, right? And this, of course, would be the master bedroom, okay? Now, what do you need to do for the assignment? What do you need to do for this project? Well, the reason why I didn't want you using, or I didn't want my students using right angles for this is then you have this opportunity to practice some trig. Okay, now in order to practice that trig, the first thing you have to do is get out your handy dandy ruler and just make some measurements here. So centimeters, or in my metric system in general, is my choice, but so I'm going to use the centimeters here, and I notice that this wall is roughly 8.3 centimeters. All right? And I would go through and I'd measure all the other walls out. Okay? So I'd measure each exterior wall and I'd measure each interior wall. So I'd come through and I'd measure this interior wall here, and I'd measure this interior wall. And I'm actually going to do this one right here because for the purpose of this activity, this is the one that makes the most sense for me. So this is 4.9 centimeters, right? Now, the next thing I would need to do is I need to convert that into so many feet, because this particular activity is actually having you build a home in the United States where homes are measured in square footage. And square footage simply means the space inside the house that you would actually be living in. So it wouldn't include a garage, but it does include closets and bathrooms and things like that. It doesn't include an attic. It wouldn't include a sunroom that's air conditioned, but it does include anything that the air conditioner is attached to. In some cases, if you don't have air conditioner anywhere in the house, anything that's heated. Those would be the spaces you'd be dealing with. The number one thing people forget in these when they do this activity is remembering to stick bathrooms and hallways in. That's an interesting one. Is how do you get from room to room without a hallway, and how do you live in a place without a bathroom? I guess you have an outhouse. But anyway, you set a scale though. 8.3 centimeters is equivalent to so many feet. For the purpose of this activity, just to keep things simple, we can say that 1 centimeter is equivalent to 2 feet. So that means that this would be 16.4 feet. All right? That would mean that this one right here, I don't have space to write it in right there, that one right there would be 9.8 feet. All right? So now I have these two measurements. The next thing I need to do is figure out what is the measurement of that angle right there. Okay? And this is where trig comes in. So I need to go through and find the measure of every angle inside the house. If your house has right angles, well, that's really simple for a builder to set up and say all the angles are going to be right angles. It's really simple, it's straightforward. Most builders have really straightforward ways of doing it, namely a 3, 4, 5 setup. You measure 3 feet this way, 4 feet that way. If this last measurement across this way is 5 feet, you have a right angle. But we don't want right angles, so we're actually going to have to figure out what all these measurements need to be so the house is built properly. So you'd go through and you'd figure out what is this angle. And this is where you use law of sines or law of cosines. Law of cosines would probably be the first one to use to figure out this angle, the measure of that angle right there. Now, how would you do that? Well, I don't actually have a triangle, but what I could do is I could create a fake wall right there, which isn't really a straight line. It's supposed to be though. And I would again measure that out. Okay. And I'd find that that measurement there is kind of hard to tell from my angle, centimeters. So that would, if I do the 1 to 2 ratio, that is 9 feet. It's actually a decent sized room there, 16 by 9 by 10. Okay. Now that you have those measurements, you use law of cosines, which is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c times cosine of big A, where this right here would be big A, this angle 1 right here, and this side over here would be little a. This side right here would be B, and that would be C. You'd plug those values in and you would solve for what that angle is. And this is where you'd have to use arc cosine in order to do that. And that's a whole nother video, which I do have posted on my YouTube channel, Law of Cosines. So you'd run through that process and you'd find that angle, and then you would do that for every single angle as you walked around the building. That way you have all those measurements made. All right. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me through my website, or you can drop me a comment. And if you like this video, give it a like. If you don't like it, give it a like anyway. We could always need more positive encouragement, right? And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That way I know that you care, all right?